Hello everyone, welcome back to A Message of Hope. My name is Monet Souza and I'm so grateful that you're joining with us today. Before we leave the page, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe because we can reach more viewers like yourself, share messages of hope a lot faster than we could on our own. Today I'm going to walk you through 3 things I've learned in my 20s. The first one is focusing in on vocation. The second is on control. And the third is about not having it all together. So the first one, vocation. For any of you watching who are in your 20s, you probably know firsthand that, especially being a Catholic or a Christian or any denomination, that lately a lot of people are getting married, engaged, pregnant, having children super quick, it feels like. And I was talking to my mom and she was saying it's one of those times in our lives where this is normal. But to be in it, sometimes it feels like, wait, everyone else seems to be figuring out their vocation faster than me. Even I have some wonderful friends who are sisters, religious sisters in Ohio. And I look at them, I'm like, wow, they have their vocation figured out. They're living fully in the call the Lord has for them. So I look at those who are called to priesthood, religious life, married life, and everyone seems to be figuring it out. And sometimes I'm left with, wait, what about me? I want to let you know your 20s is the time when you're going to start seeing so many people come to understand their vocation. And that doesn't mean that you're never going to figure out your vocation. It's just you're going to be called to lean into your relationship with God. And in time, He'll make it known what He has planned for you. But in the meantime, instead of envying or comparing, be grateful that the Lord is showing these vocations to these people around you. And when you live in a state of gratitude, then that feeling of comparison or jealousy or that joy being ripped from you won't be as apparent as much. The second one is going to be on control. So sometimes we feel like, okay, I need to have my life in my control. I need to have my schedule in front of me. I know all of you know that I am a huge scheduler, planner. I have everything in front of me. I know where I need to be at all times. But I started realizing that sometimes that doesn't leave room for the Holy Spirit. That sometimes feeling like we have to control our lives, our jobs, our whereabouts doesn't actually leave room for spontaneity. So once I started realizing this, and a lot of people around me started saying, you seem to have a lot on your plate, why don't you let some of that go? And I started to wrestle with that. I started to see as I started to let my schedule go and give it to God and say, okay, this is what I have planned for the day, but if you want to take away or add a few things in, go for it. And there's been so much peace, there's been so much clarity, there's been a lot more spontaneity, which is so much fun because then you get to run into people you would have never run into if you just were head down on your planner, focusing on what you had to check off for the day. So leave room for the Holy Spirit. You don't need to control everything. That's God's job. We're just supposed to travel down a nice little river, a spiritual river of where the Lord needs to take us, and we need to be open to that. And the third one is it's okay not to have it all together. So when you graduate, many of us are graduating undergrad, graduate school, and we are most likely in our early to late 20s graduating from those programs. And sometimes most times society says, you're supposed to have it all figured out. You're supposed to already know the job you want. You're supposed to already start making a certain amount of money. You have to go to school for the thing you are going to have a job in. But these are all so far from the truth because it's an individual journey for you. And that just collectively as a whole is true because God has called you individually to follow Him in a specific way. And so maybe that looks like you went to school for education, but now you're actually doing something in healthcare. Or maybe like myself, I went to school, I got my 2 degrees, and I'm still trying to figure out what is the one thing I want to do. So right now I'm juggling a whole bunch of stuff. But so many people look at us and expect us in our 20s to have it all figured out. You got your diploma, now go become an adult like that. But give yourself some transition time. I say this to people who just graduated from high school, from college, that when the summer hits, don't feel like you need to get a job right away. Transition, because we're not supposed to have it all together. We're still just in our 20s. And I don't know about you, but I still feel super young. And sometimes I'm like, am I old enough to be doing these things? But the Lord is going to equip you. Just allow yourself some grace and some mercy to say, I don't have it all figured out. And that's okay, because you know what? Neither do I. And neither do the people probably to your left and to your right. But as long as you're trying your best and you're following the promptings of the Holy Spirit, That's all that's asked of you. Don't let the voices or the commentary of people beside you sway you. Listen to God first, and then the people who you trust second. So again, those are a few things that I have learned from my 20s, and I hope that this helps each and every one of you. And again, we will continue to be seeing you on Thursdays for a new episode every single week. God bless you, and tell me, what are some things that you've learned in your 20s? Leave them in the comments below. God bless.